Eu moro fora do Brasil há mais ou menos 7 anos.
I think I heard más o menos, but then no. Okay.
También trabajé en un bar que mi jefe era cubano, entonces siempre teníamos pláticas en español, pero se me olvidó tantas cosas porque... Hi, my name is Kimberly. I'm from Brazil. I speak Portuguese, Spanish, English, and German.
Hello, my name is Maurice. I'm Swiss, Dutch, and British. I speak English, Dutch, and German, and Swiss German, and a little bit of Spanish.
Well, I learned English by myself. I'm still learning actually. I still have a lot of vocabulary to learn, but I had English in my university, so that's how I actually learned. Spanish also I learned by myself. We had a lot of Mexican soap operas in Brazil, so I used to watch it with my mom, and the mouth of the actress were saying something, but she was actually saying something else. I was always like, that's not what she's saying, so I wanted to watch in the original. So a lot of my Spanish is from Mexican Spanish. German, I actually lived in Austria 5 years, so I had to learn, but it's been a while, so I don't usually practice German. Maybe my German is not so good anymore.
I was born in England, and then from a young age I moved with my family to Switzerland. My mother is Dutch and my dad is English, so since birth on I've been speaking both languages in the family, Dutch with my mother and English with my father. So growing up that was even sometimes a bit confusing. At school I would speak German since we moved at a very young age to Switzerland in the German-speaking area. Growing up actually I spoke 3 languages. In Switzerland they have a very strong dialect, Swiss German, which Germans don't understand, so some count it almost as a 4th language. And so growing up, I had 4 languages mixed with each other. In school, my teachers reported to my parents that I used to use Dutch words and English words instead of German words, so it was actually got a bit confusing at some point.
Yeah, also I lived in Switzerland. It was a small city. I think actually Swiss German is the most difficult. I used to live in Upper Austria and they have like a dialect that was difficult to understand. Also, a bunch of words are different from Hochdeutsch.
Yes, for me, I'd say the same. So Swiss German followed by German is definitely the most difficult to speak.
I was in Switzerland. My dad lives in Zurich, so I was there visiting him. It was like, I speak German, but like, what language are you guys speaking? You know, this is not German, this is something else. So they have a lot of different words. Also, like for work, they don't say arbeite, they say schaffe. So for me, it's like, schaffe, what is this like new word? Because I also lived in Vorarlberg, which is in the border from Switzerland and Austria. They got a lot of words from Switzerland. It was very difficult for me to understand because although I learned English and Spanish by myself, German I tried to learn by myself. I had to take classes. It was so different, the language that they spoke in the classes and in the streets. So it was like, I speak German, but what are you guys talking? It's completely different. It was something else.
Germans really struggle when they come to Switzerland. They cannot understand anything usually. And my friends told me that it sounds like some Eastern European language. It really is its own thing.
I think it's because the country has so many languages. Maybe they just mix a little bit Italian, the vocabulary, or some of the French too.
Yeah, absolutely. Words like thank you, we say merci.
Merci.
Merci, yeah. But with then a Swiss German kind of accent onto it. Merci.
In the mountain was also always like merci, merci. I was like, we're not in France. Why are you talking French, you know?
So which language do you speak?
I speak English. Brazil has a lot of American influence. So we watch a lot of Hollywood movies. We are very by the American culture. So not many people speak English in Brazil, but if the people that speak English, it's because of America. Mostly like routine talk, daily talk, like friends. Most of my English I learned with friends. I was just very interested to learn. Also because when I went to Austria, I was like, they don't understand Portuguese here. So either I talk English or nobody's gonna understand me, so I had to talk. That's how I learned actually.
So I actually lived as well as learning it from my dad. I lived in England between ages 11 and 16, so just spoken my whole life.
Which part from England are you?
In the southwest, like countryside, Dorset, Somerset.
Where? Because I have family in...
I lived in very rural areas, so nowhere near the cities.
It's very different how they talk.
Yeah, exactly. So even within England, the regional accents vary a lot. Even I go to the north, I sometimes struggle to understand because of the dialect is so different.
When I talk with my cousins, like from England, like sometimes I'm like, can you repeat? I don't understand what you're saying. Like, please be a little bit less British.
American English is so recognizable to British English, especially to British people. So different. And even the spelling actually with some of the words can be different. American English is like worldwide known English mostly. But to British people, it's like, since it originates from England, we have very specific grammar and spelling that is different. For example, is a lot of words like color, instead of two O's, you always put a U after the second O. There's many other words like flavor, just very small nuances.
Yeah, I totally understand that because Portuguese from Portugal and from Brazil, it's also very different. Portuguese from Portugal, it's more like how they used to speak many years ago, and our way is more like our way of speaking. It's like a completely different language. I think it's similar to British English and American English. Bueno.
Yeah, un poco.
¿Cómo aprendiste el español?
En colegio el años pasados es necesario para hablar un idiomas de español, francés o alemán. Y yo porque hablo alemán y francés es más difícil.
Siempre me gustó las telenovelas. En Brasil teníamos una banda, un grupo mexicano. Entonces mi generación, las chicas, nosotros teníamos mucha influencia. Cantábamos las canciones, ver los vídeos, pero yo viví en Galicia, en España. También trabajé en un bar y mi jefe era cubano, entonces siempre teníamos pláticas en español, pero se me olvidó tantas cosas porque no tengo nadie con quien hablar, platicar y bueno, sí, se me olvida. Sí, son similares. Yo creo que portugués, comprender el español no es tan difícil, es más sencillo. He hablado en portugués con amigos de Colombia, de España, y para ellos es muy difícil comprender portugués. Más que nosotros que intentas, puedo hablar y a mí me gusta hablar porque es una lengua muy bonita.
Español de España, este es muy diferente con español de México.
Sí, sí, sí. Creo que con el español de toda la América Latina son un poco distintos.
So when I first learned Spanish in middle school, I was about 15. I actually chose it because I heard it was easier to French. It is a bit difficult, especially the pronunciation in the beginning, that fluency, the speed. But I think once you get over that, it's quite easy because the words are read out the way that you can read them. So just pronounce it the exact same way as you see them.
When you learn a Latin language, that opens a lot of doors. Like speaking Portuguese helped me to learn Spanish so much easier, and I understand a lot French, understand a lot Italian, even Romanian. Everything is very similar. I have a friend, he learned Latin in school and he learned Portuguese very fast, he learned Spanish fast and French too, so it's very easy for him to learn other Latin languages once you open your door with one Latin language.
Also wo hast du Deutsch gelernt?
Ich habe in Österreich gelebt, ungefähr 5 Jahre. Mein Vater war da und er hat mir gesagt, du musst hier kommen und arbeiten und Deutsch lernen. So, ich war in Vorarlberg zuerst und ich habe auch in der Schweiz 5 Monate ungefähr. Ich habe dort gearbeitet in einem Berg. Meine Universität war auch auf Englisch. Ich habe nur zum Beispiel im Supermarkt oder Apotheke oder mit alte Leute und so, nur so solche Sachen. Vor 2 Jahren schon benutze kein Deutsch, so ich habe so viele Worte vergessen. Das ist für mich so schwierig.
Ja, wenn man eine Sprache nicht beiübt, kann man das wirklich vergessen über Zeit. In Österreich bin ich nur in Wien gewesen, aber ich bin natürlich in Deutschland viel mehr gegangen und in der Schweiz bin ich selber aufgewachsen.
Many regions from Austria, if you go to Tirol, south part near Italy, they speak also very different. It's another world, it's another German too. I went to the north of Italy. A lot of people there speak German because it's very close to Tirol, so they speak German and Italian. Portuguese and German are completely different. It's so different. The fact that everything has a gender. In Portuguese, everything is either female or male. In German, there are 3 genders. Neutral, female, and male. If you don't know the gender of the stuff, you cannot make a sentence. The sun is a man in Portuguese, and in German is female. So for us, it didn't make sense. I made a lot of mistakes because of this, misgendering the stuff. For me, this is the most difficult part for sure.
No, I would say they are not similar, maybe more similar than Brazilian and German, but still completely different. British people struggle a lot to learn German. I was fortunate because I learned it from when we moved to Switzerland when I was 1 year old. Even as someone who has spoken it their whole life, I even sometimes make mistakes with 4 case forms of accusative, nominative, dative. That can be really confusing because there are many ways when formulating a sentence and talking about the object and subject. There are 4 different case forms that can be applied to the language. So I think German even makes English look like an easy language to foreigners.
Dutch is a little bit similar to German. Can you say something in Dutch so I can see if I understand?
I'll keep it simple to start with and then we can see how it goes. Ik heet Maurice. Ik kom uit Nederland. Ik heb daar een paar jaar gewoond, maar ik ben opgegroeid in het buitenland.
Some words I understood, like introduce yourself and stuff. Yeah, some words are similar. You lived in Netherlands.
I think if you read it, you would definitely recognize it more because almost the same language, but then a big twist with a lot of in Dutch.
It should be similar to Latin languages. So I think if I hear someone speaking for French or Italian, I would understand some stuff. Being a German person, they would understand a lot.
It's much easier to learn actually because there's only one form, like in most languages where you have male, female, and German you have the third one, but in Dutch you just have one. All Germans that come to Netherlands learn it the fastest compared to all the other international students. They pick it up much faster.
I've been to Amsterdam once. I saw some words, you know, I was reading, I was like, I understand this,
Yeah.
I understood that. Definitely some words, at least the context, I would get it.
I heard you're native Portuguese. Can you say something in Portuguese?
Meu nome é Kimberly, sou brasileira. Eu moro fora do Brasil há mais ou menos 7 anos. Primeiro eu fui para Europa e depois eu vim para Coreia.
I think I heard más o menos, but then no. 6 años? Okay. When you say it, I recognize some small words that they've been just twisted around
Yeah.
or put on a strong expression.
É porque o brasileiro fala o português mais, pelo menos na região de onde eu sou, a gente fala mais cantando. We speak more singing the Portuguese.
Oh, okay.
In my region. Brazil is very big. Em cada região é diferente o jeito de falar. Na minha região é mais cantando. The R sound is more H.
Very different. For me, the most similar I can compare it to is Spanish. So I try to, with my little Spanish knowledge that I have, pick out some of the words that I recognize.
So the most difficult language is definitely German. Just to understand, to have a conversation, to read, everything. I learned Spanish, English by myself. I never had to take classes. But German, I was like, nope, let's stop right here. I have to take the classes because otherwise there's no way I'm gonna learn this language. It's different when you talk every day. I think even though I took classes, most of my German I learned talking with people because I used to work in a bar. It doesn't matter where you're from, which part, it's always gonna be a different German. So many German to understand. I wouldn't understand so good if you spoke this German with me.
Even my Dutch friends really struggle, even though the language is quite similar, just as if it's another foreign language, while the other way it's not like that. When I tell people I speak Swiss German and German, if they don't speak either of the languages, they think like it sounds like just an accent, right? Like Swiss German is just maybe more accent of German, but it's so different. Sometimes even the sentence structure is different in Swiss German compared to German. And so when Germans come to Switzerland, they really are like in a foreign place. They have to learn the language completely.
If you go more to the countryside in Switzerland, it's very complex. If I can, I always avoid to speak German.
Yeah, really good. It was interesting to learn about Brazilian, bigger differences between Spanish, Mexican Spanish, and European Spanish from Spain.
Yeah, it was definitely crazy to speak German again because Spanish, sometimes I still watch stuff in Spanish, I still listen to Spanish music, but German, I have absolutely no German in my daily life anymore.
Today we speak in 5 languages.
If you like the video, please comment, give a like, and subscribe below.
See you next time.
Bye.